started playing Mass Effect again for the first time in a long while, and I love the trilogy. As far as I'm concerned, it's a modern classic and is one of the best games series to come out of the 360 PS3 era of games. However, I totally forgot just how janky and messed up Mass Effect 1 feels when compared to Mass Effect 2 and 3. What's going on? I'm Ty, and today I wanted to just take a few moments and talk about just the really big kind of in-between spot that Mass Effect filled and what I would change specifically with the remaster that they released in order to make it a well-rounded experience. They did a lot of really good things, which everyone's kind of talked about so far, but I feel like they could have went a little bit further with this in order to make something that would have meshed better with the second and third game in the series. So today, let's talk about what I'd change with Mass Effect. Full disclosure, this is my fourth copy of the Mass Effect trilogy, and I actually only played the original Mass Effect on the Xbox 360 when it came out. So despite owning multiple copies of it, I actually never got around to playing it. And if I'm being completely truthful, I actually only played the Mass Effect 2 multiple times. The first thing here is going to be the running. So I forgot how much of smoker lungs that Shepard has in the game. Whether you're playing as male Shep or femme Shep, it really doesn't matter. Either one is going to have a horrible, horrible cardio. There's no way that they're a proper soldier. I can run better than that, but regardless of that, it would have been nice to have infinite sprint in situations like when you're in the Citadel or you're in any other kind of town or marketplace. I understand in combat to limit it, but even then, give us a little bit more. I know that they wanted to keep the game as true to form as before, but that's something that just would have been a nice quality of life improvement. The other thing that's really odd, and I completely forgot about, is just how stiff and awkward the animations are in Mass Effect 1. The second game is really where the series came into its own in terms of polish, and I find the same thing with the Uncharted series as well. The first game, it's a really promising prototype, but it's not what the series eventually would become known for. So it would have been nice, because they went back and touched up the models, it would have been nice to see the animations touched up with examples from the later games to kind of smooth over more of the presentation. So the biggest thing that's got on my nerves with this is actually the manual save system. I completely forgot that you have to manually save all the time. I guess I've just gotten used to the warm blanket of having checkpoints. After every battle that you fight, there's a checkpoint nowadays, for the most part. But in the first one, you have to manually save. So there's been a lot of situations where I'd get like 15, 20 minutes in and forget to save and die from a stray missile from somewhere, or just do something stupid and awkward, or my controls would freak out. And yeah, that's another thing that would be nice to be fixed. But I'd end up dying because of that and lose about 20 to 30 minutes. So the other thing here is that I would love the controls to be a little bit more fixed and polished. It's not that they're bad, but the second and third game definitely don't feel as stiff. It kind of lines up with the animations there. But the thing that's really annoying is there's a lot of like bugs and glitches I've encountered. So whether it's Shepard not turning but the camera turning, so I have to use the control stick in a weird way that basically I'm strafing left and right, I can't turn, and I have to, like, when I'm turning the camera, move the joystick. It's really odd. I honestly don't know how to describe it properly, but it basically is like completely disorienting. Imagine looking backward and having to walk sideways. The other thing that would be really, really nice is, I know they touched up the Mako controls, but like, seriously, that thing, it's not the controls that are bad, it's the sections are just so weird and limiting, and where you need to go isn't always completely obvious. And I just want to go from point A to point B. There's a lot of just running around, or in this case, driving around, doing not much in between. So it'd be nice if they kind of tightened those things up and make the Mako go a little bit faster. Kind of like how when Wind Waker HD came out, the boat allowed you to go faster. And that really made the game feel a lot more modern, and it was a nice quality of life improvement. The other little nitpicking thing here is that the weapon wheel, when you're trying to select an ability or a weapon for yourself or your teammates, it's actually really loose, which just kind of threw me off after playing a lot of games with weapon wheels nowadays, something like Doom or even Ratchet and Clank. They actually have a really nice kind of feel to them where you almost walk into each selection, whereas in Mass Effect it feels really loose, and I don't really know why that is, but if I had to guess, it's because the section of the area that lights up is not restricted to each individual weapon, and you can kind of get in between them, so it just feels kind of sloppy as opposed to the visual presentation of more modern games. So the second last thing here is that I would love the minimap to actually do something in this game other than point out some objectives and the general direction for them. I found myself having to go back to the map a lot to kind of reorient myself. I don't know whether I've just gotten accustomed to minimaps giving you more information with playing games like Remnant from the Ashes and just really a lot of more modern games, but it feels really weird to have a minimap that doesn't tell you anything other than enemy locations and where you need to go. I kind of want to see, like, do I need to go around this corner or do I need to just go straight? Because it's just a nice thing to have that more modern games have really gotten down pat. Even something like Outriders that doesn't have a minimap that's good, it actually has a very similar minimap to Mass Effect, actually allows you to push up on the direction pad and it has a trail that feeds you towards your objective. Admittedly, it doesn't always work, but at least it's something in there. And the last thing that I would change is the ridiculous amount of like stutters and freezes that I ended up getting throughout the game. Like, there's this one box. Yeah, I don't know what it's doing. Maybe there's like a Hanar inside listening to House of Pain and it really wants to jump around. But ultimately, the biggest disappointment for me was when I lost audio at the end of a boss fight and then had the game crash on me at the end of a conversation and cinematic that would have led into a save point, or at least out of that situation where I could have manually saved. So I had to boot the game back up the next day because I wasn't about to go through that whole section again, and I had to do that whole section again. It's not the end of the world, and the game is still great without that, but it would have been nice to have those things kind of ironed out, considering it's an older game that's just being updated for new hardware, and realistically, they could have just thrown the PC version together with a little bit of differences in terms of which models and assets are being used. At least that's what it seems like more or less was done here. I know that more than that was done, but that's the presentation that you get as the player. Ultimately though, I'm just glad to be playing Mass Effect again. I forgot how much I missed this series, and specifically the story of Commander Shepard. So this has been a great experience playing it again, and I'm excited to go through with the second one and third one as I get through them. But let me know in the comments down below what you would change in Mass Effect, well, the Legendary Edition that just came out. And as always, if you like this, check out some of the other videos around, and make sure to hit subscribe if you do want to see more of this. Everyone that's subscribed so far, thank you so much. You are double thumbs up awesome, because it just has done way better than I expected. And until then, I'll see you all next Games Tuesday. Oh yeah, I forgot. This is the only game that I know of where math actually allows you to destroy a giant spaceship.